Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Smackdown live review. And I gotta say, man, Smackdown Live, we were heaping all the praise on it for Raw TWitWoW, and SmackDown Live stepped up in a major way. This go-home show actually felt like SummerSlam was upon us. All of the really big angles, I think, got treated very seriously. I think they were prioritized properly for the most part. I mean, I'll get into certain specifics later. And yeah, I overall really, really enjoyed this show. What a step up from Raw only 24 hours ago. Partner, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said yesterday, dude. Raw had a head start, and SmackDown is catching up at the speed of sound. It's amazing.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. With that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I got to say, no heats of the night tonight, no nitpicks. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. What about you, partner?
No, I don't have any heats of the night either, which is a massive improvement over yesterday's Raw, where we both had heats of the night. You had one. I had a full roster of 3.
Exactly. So we both improved majorly. And with that said, let us get right into our SmackDown live review. And we open up Shane, Daniel Bryan, and Orton all backstage. They present Orton with the official contract. It's a done deal. Orton, Lesnar, SummerSlam, which, hey, if you're going to talk about contracts, I'm glad that we don't have to go through the whole song and dance of a contract signing. I thought that was really
that's huge too. I'm so happy that we don't have to do that crap.
Exactly. Like Brock's going to waste
contract signings have become so blasé and cliche and whatever other French word you want to use to describe them.
There you go. Heath Slater comes in with a fruit basket, and it was originally addressed to Bob, but it wasn't meant for Bob. Heath Slater claims that's supposed to be Boss. And, for Shane and Daniel Bryan. And he tosses Randy an apple. He's like, here, Randy, have an apple. And he said he just wanted to apologize to Shane and Daniel Bryan, and he'd really like to work on SmackDown Live. And Randy Orton's listening all the while, and then taking a nefarious bite of that apple, he says, oh, I've got an idea. And that's how we leave things. So I like how we're not told too much. They pull back. Great use of foreshadowing here in this segment. And Heath Slater stuck, in my eyes anyway, continues to climb. This was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Oh, I wish I would have seen this. I literally turned on SmackDown at 8:03, and it was while Miz and Maurice. Actually, specifically, it was while Maurice was introducing the Miz for Miz TV.
Right.
So I missed this first segment, but I wish I could have seen it, and I'm probably going to have to go back and check it out on the WWE's YouTube channel because they put stuff like this up there.
Yes, they do. I would certainly check it out. With that said, we can move on. Miz TV came after this, right?
Yes.
So I'll be honest with you, partner. My stream, because as all of you know, I don't have cable, had a few hiccups in this segment. I saw the main stuff, but I didn't really see the early goings of it. So I'm just guessing that Miz really kind of ran down Dolph Ziggler, because I know Miz didn't get to do his usual shtick before Dean Ambrose cut him off at the pass. And then Dolph cut him off at the pass. So what did you think about this interaction between Dolph and Dean tonight?
Dude, here's the thing. Miz was getting ready to do his welcome to the most must-see, blah, 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 welcome to. And then as he was getting ready to say Miz TV, Ambrose's song hit. He came out, and then very quickly after that, Dolph's music hit, and he came out. And this interaction I thought was awesome. Did you see this interaction, John?
I did. You know what? It was pretty much playing on the same story. Dean saying, oh, Dolph, this is the Dolph Ziggler, very focused. You're pumped up, but it's still not going to matter. You're still not going to walk out with the championship. And more or less, you're going to learn what your limits are. Dolph really responded to his critics in a major way. He said, he's fueled by all the doubt. He's fueled by all the negativity people have been sending his way. And then he really goes into this impassioned speech about how, hey, Dean, you keep talking about how I'm not going to be able to beat you, that I'm going to learn that I'm not as good as I'd like to think I am. But what about you, Dean? You know, you think that you can put me away. You can't put me away, and you're not going to be able to put me away at SummerSlam. And when you're digging down deep, when you're trying to find that one last major move to hit that could put me away, and then bam, he super kicks him. Dolph brought the fire here. And you know something? Like,
yes, Dolph was really the highlight of this whole interaction. I mean, Dean, I like that Dean is still kind of healing it up a little bit and kind of like condescending to Dolph the way that he's been. It really makes people want to get behind Dolph. But my God, is Dolph Ziggler taking this ball and running with it?
I think what's so brilliant about this story, and hey, you know, we're honest guys. We had our misgivings about this whole angle when it was first initiated, like Dolph winning that six-pack challenge. But they've really embraced the idea that Dolph doesn't have the credibility and he has that aura of doubt. You can't win the match. You can't win the title, that being the WWE Championship. And I think the utility of this approach is twofold. You mentioned the first one. That it really makes Dolph very sympathetic. It makes him more babyface than Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose isn't completely heel. He just has to feed into the doubts enough to make Dolph sympathetic while he hangs on to his own credibility and fanfare. So that works for a great match and a great angle. But more importantly, I think the utility reveals itself in the aftermath, because I still, not to show my hand here, but I'm really not convinced Dolph is winning on Sunday. And if it does go that route, you have an excellent foundation for a heel turn, because Dolph could be so downtrodden and so bitter that those doubts came to fruition. He couldn't get it done, and he could just cut a scathing promo on everybody. He could go on a nice, decent heel run, I think, if they choose to go that route. So, yeah, I think the utility here, taking this approach of really making Dolph the underdog and really shoving in his face like, oh, yeah, we really haven't done anything with him in 2 years. He really is scratching and clawing just to have that aura of credibility. Using this narrative, I definitely think it has a lot that can be exhausted from it, so I approve.
Absolutely, man. I thought that Dolph's fire was amazing. Dean did a great job of kind of selling his apathy towards Dolph. Like, dude, I don't really care what you say. I don't buy you as a legit threat. And that super kick was perfectly timed. It was just great.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude. This segment, like I said, it was fire. And I'll be honest, you know, for me personally, I think I actually prefer this over what Balor Rollins did on Raw, because as much as I love Balor and Rollins, I didn't think it was a little silly, and I hope they don't overdo it, but knowing Raw, they will. This whole Demon King concept, I like that Balor is two separate entities, but NXT never really seemed to make a big production of it until, you know, we saw the Demon. So I like that Ambrose and Ziggler, they're more grounded. It's more, you know, Ziggler's kind of Cinderella man in a way. He was never supposed to get this chance. Now he's got it. Can he win the big title fight? I like that. I like that a lot. So, yeah, great segment.
I can definitely dig that. I think that Demon Balor is great, but this whole Demon King thing is just another example of Raw to commercialize everything.
I couldn't have said it better, man. That word, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I can't even add anything to that. If you want to move on, we can.
All right. Well, up next, we had our first match of the night, the Usos, American Alpha, and the Hype Bros taking on the team of the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and Breezango. And man, I really wanted Breezango to pick up a win here just so that I could get that little hint of confidence that the WWE might actually be interested in pushing them. But, you know, Pawn to King 4, American Alpha picks up the pin on Aiden English with grand amplitude.
Here's my thing. I love these guys, and I'm always going to love these guys. These are the guys that, you know, even if they would be booked in an OP fashion, I think we're getting dangerously close to that territory already, I'd still love them. So I guess in a way you could say they're Johnny Mundo-esque, because I wouldn't care if Johnny Mundo won every single match. Of course I'd be happy. But it is always better, especially when you're a babyface, if there is an obstacle. And I'm just wondering because I don't really see a team the caliber of the Revival, who I felt like were a perfect foil for American Alpha. I don't see that on the main roster. Again, I thought the best bet was either, and this is the option I preferred, you either rebuild the Ascension, which they really should do anyway because I still think they could be an amazing team, or to kind of feed into your point of what you were hoping for, go all in on Breezango. they're amazing. And honestly, I think they could be a great foil for American Alpha in the sense that American Alpha, they're all about the wrestling. They're all about the alpha plexes. They're all about the competition. Breezango just wants to look good. And to me, I think they see the tag titles as nothing more than a fashion accessory, which is great, you know? And I think it's a great contrast. So I want American Alpha to have an obstacle, and I think either Breezango or the Ascension would be perfect, at least until the Revival get a call-up, which hopefully would happen. So, yeah, I mean, fun match. But tone it back just a little bit with American Alpha. And this is coming from me. You know, I don't want to see these guys get spoiled here for the crowd and then they turn on them, because I think these guys deserve better than that.
Yeah, I don't think the crowd's going to turn on American Alpha just because of how good they are, but they need to struggle somehow. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great to see them dominant, but they need to struggle in some way. I mean, we don't want to have something to crown a new pair of tag team champions and they just steamroll their way to victory and nobody has any doubt that they're going to win the whole thing by the end of it.
Right. And you know what? This goes back again to a problem with the bookers and writers. Like, again, SmackDown was fantastic tonight, but I do got to say, sometimes I worry that WWE, they take good things, they take good parts of their product, and either, to use the word that you used in the preceding segment when we were talking about Balor Rollins, they commercialize it to hell, or they push it to hell and they've exhausted the kind of threshold of enjoyment. I think that in economics, it's either called the utility principle or something about consumption. And, you know, like, you don't want to exhaust these guys too soon with the crowd. I agree with you. I don't know if they'd sour them entirely because of how good they are, but when you win all the time, I mean, and you've even defined this basic rule on multiple episodes, if the crowd figures out that you don't need them anymore, then they're going to turn on you. And I would never want American Alpha to be perceived as, oh, they're so good because of where they come from. I guess we're just a bunch of schmucks and we're just supposed to clap our hands and they don't need us. Like, that would suck. So give them an obstacle.
Yeah. Although, for what it's worth, if that would happen, we do know that American Alpha can be heels. I don't think they need to be right now, but if it comes to it, if worst comes to worst, these guys are talented and charismatic enough to play heel.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. Not really much more I could say. And speaking of heels, I mean, the Usos were also in this match. I wouldn't mind if they turned heel, because even with them being baby faces, I thought they were going to be more OP. Now they're just kind of blending in the background, which I'm not complaining about. But I mean, you know, where do they fit in the grand scheme of this division now? I don't know where their stock is. I don't know what their role is, but maybe they could use a heel turn as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe. That's definitely a possibility. But we did actually forget to talk about one thing. During the break after the Miz TV segment was finished, we actually had Apollo Crews come out because Miz was talking about him and referring to him as Apollo Creed. And Apollo came out and said it's Crews, and Miz was just like, "Oh, do you think I'm stupid? We're A-list celebrities, blah, blah, blah. It's Creed." And then Apollo grabs him and does his spinning toss-up powerbomb thing to him. Just wanted to bring that up because I didn't want us to miss it and not talk about it, even though there's really not a ton to actually say about it.
You know, I just have to make one quick note about it. I mean, I like Apollo's powerbomb finisher. I do wish that he had a secondary finisher, though, that was more of an impact finisher, because he did hold Miz up for a few seconds where I'm kind of like, well, why isn't Miz trying to punch out? Why does it seem like he's just waiting?
Yes, that frustrated me too, John. You're not the only one. Believe me, that was very awkward. It definitely, you need to have more suddenness to something like that. Even if it just would have been like one of his jumping clotheslines that knocks the Miz down, and then he does the, you know, the old ooh-ha combination where he did the moonsault and then the shooting star, just to kind of show off or something. But that like long holding you up in the air sort of moment where the guy could be fighting out but he's not is really, really bad, and it really does kind of take away from the suspension of disbelief.
I'm so glad you had my back on this one, because I didn't know if I was just being nitpicky or what. But yeah, I'm thinking when you look like Apollo Crews does, an impact finisher would be great for him. And yeah, there's too much of a delay on that for me. If you want to use it in your matches, fine, but I don't know. I just think, bam, something like that. But yeah, I'm still excited for the IC title match. SummerSlam should be good. But with that said, unless there's anything else you want to say, we can move on.
Well, up next, we had Naomi coming out with this awesome new EDM entrance. She's got an EDM mix of her actual song that she was using as a theme, the It's a May Zing thing. She got an EDM mix of that as her theme now. She comes out and she's almost wearing like a jumpsuit with a bunch of neon glow in the dark designs on it. Her hair, she's got glow in the dark extensions at the very end of her hair now. It looks really cool. And she was handing out neon glow in the dark bracelets and stuff to people in the crowd. And she was actually doing a really cool dance at the very top of the ramp during the beginning of her entrance. And then when she actually got in the ring, she did some cool stuff too. So I'm really enjoying her new entrance, and I kind of am looking forward to seeing her do more with it.
Brother, let me tell you, because you know I've always been a big Naomi fan, what I'm looking forward to is having the ability to reinvest in her, because I feel like she's kind of dropped off for a little bit. I liked her heel work initially, but it very quickly cooled off on me. This is where I think Naomi's supposed to be. I do think she's supposed to be a babyface. I love this getup, with the glow in the dark and, like you said, the EDM music and the dancing. Like, this feels more authentic to her, because she has been a dancer. This is kind of going back to her roots. It's fun. It's lighthearted. And by the way, just the whole aesthetic of everything and the originality, just another reason why I'm really loving SmackDown's women's division. This is how Naomi can stand out from the pack, can stand out from Becky Lynch, Natalya, Eva, Alexa, and all of them. And really, if Naomi, because there's been a movement, and there's been a movement for a long time. Oh, Naomi for champ. You know how they always do those hashtags for people they like. If Naomi was ever going to stake her claim and be a worthwhile contribution to the women's division, it is going to be on SmackDown. I think she has a much better chance of winning the SmackDown's Women's Championship than the WWE Women's Championship. That's just how I see it. And I'd love to see her get a run, and I'm excited to reinvest in her again. I've missed her, so.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see her. We kind of knew that she was going to end up being face during the first, let's get all the women out here just to say something and introduce themselves to the crowd segment during the first SmackDown Live. But it's really cool to kind of see it be reaffirmed with this new entrance, which is really cool.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude. Unfortunately, because I was curious if she even reinvented herself a little bit, because that's another thing I like about Naomi, at least with her finisher. She always seems to be adapting her game a little bit. I was curious if she changed the ring style to match the entrance style, but we weren't going to get to find that out, were we, Ashton?
Well, no, because her opponent was meant to be Eva Marie, but according to Eva Marie's new personal awesome ring announcer, she was stuck in traffic and wasn't going to be able to compete tonight.
Yeah, I'm still loving it, dude. I'm still loving that they're building Eva up. And you know what, dude? Honestly, and I know this is going to sound crazy, I actually know they won't be able to, will they? Because isn't Eva, I know there was a 6-women tag team match announced for SummerSlam. I think she's a part of that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping. You know what, though? Maybe they could still keep it up. I want to see her not compete until there are high stakes like that women's championship, and then she does and she wins just to piss everybody off. Like, if you're going to do it, go all the way. That's what I say, because I've been loving that just for some reason every week we don't get to see her, and I think you need to ride that until the very end, and then when she finally does compete, it's for the biggest prize in her division. I think that'd be amazing heel heat, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, it would definitely be. And then the crazy thing, too, is what I'd honestly kind of like to see is I'd like to see her not wrestle for months. Not just, 1 month, maybe not even 2 months. We're talking 4, 5, maybe even 6 months. Maybe the first time she actually decides to get in the ring and try and compete is WrestleMania 33. I want it to get dragged the hell out. Because you saying I still love this tells me that they're not trying hard enough. Because if anyone, even you, still is feeling positive vibes about this, they're not trying hard enough, because the whole point of it is to annoy you and get under your skin and make you hate her. And the longer they hold out, the more likely it is that we're going to finally get to that moment where John says, dude, I don't know why they keep doing this. We need to put an end to this. She needs to just have a damn match.
Yeah, and you know what? You're not even wrong. And you know what's even crazier? You saying WrestleMania 33? That's so in line with the Eva character, too. Because then she could just be like, well, guys, it's my debut. And the debut of somebody, as glorious as All Red Everything. I said glorious. I got Bobby Roode on the brain. Could only happen at the biggest stage. WrestleMania. Like, it just fits her ego perfectly to me. So I love that idea. I mean, I won't love it in a few months if they would actually commit. I'd be like, oh my God, just have a match already. But yeah, in hindsight, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Exactly. So Eva can't compete, unfortunately, and they just kind of say, hey guys, guess what happened this past Hell in a Cell? John Cena lost to Alberto Del Rio. I really despise JBL.
He's awful.
You are giving him more credit than he even deserves.
You know what? You're not even wrong. What I did notice, though, you were really loving Morrow tonight, so at least he's still bringing it for you, huh?
Yeah, Morrow's wonderful. I love the way that he brings up random things and relates them back to what's going on in the ring.
I know, right? That's so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. So anyway, like I said, they did bring up Cena. We got a recap of that match, and then we go to the backstage area, and Alberto Del Rio is there, and AJ Styles shows up, and AJ tells Alberto, man, I saw what you did to John Cena at Hell in a Cell last year. I was watching it on the WWE Network. And he just kind of wanted to, he was like giving him a pep talk, basically. And then Alberto Del Rio is just like, hey, man, chill. I've been there before. You can beat up John Cena on your own time. I'm going to handle my business tonight. And AJ's just like, look, man, take a step back and remember that I'm on the SummerSlam card and you're not.
I love that. AJ was on point tonight verbally. I think he's really
even on commentary. He was awesome.
Dude, I think he's finally, I don't even want to say getting comfortable, because if tonight was any indication, maybe he's fully comfortable now with talking as a heel in a WWE context and working how they want him to work. Because, yeah, that was a sick burn on Del Rio. I enjoyed him on commentary. And then the promo he had later in the night, which we'll get to, I thought was freaking on point. So, yeah, AJ putting in the work. And I hate Del Rio so much, but my only question is I wonder if he reached out to Sami Zayn on Twitter and they hugged each other and cried on the WWE Network. Two guys with no SummerSlam matches. It's really something.
Yeah, man. I mean, this was an interesting segment because you kind of got to see an interaction between one key heel that people like and an actual heelish heel that people hate, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude.
Yeah. So then we can move on from that, and then we got our Kurt Hawkins facts.
All right, bro. This always seems like, now don't get me wrong, I love this, but I feel like this is probably more up your alley in terms of humor than my own. So what did you think about these vignettes?
I mean, they were all right. I mean, yeah, I got a giggle out of it for sure, especially the second one that Kurt Hawkins can slam a rotating door. I loved that. That was hilarious to me. Probably too funny to me. I'm 25 years old, almost 26. I shouldn't be laughing at dumb shit like that, but it did make me giggle quite a bit. So there you go.
I mean, personally, and this coming from a 24-year-old guy, I liked how Kurt Hawkins doesn't flush the toilet. He scares the crap out of it. Like, that was great. What are we thinking about this repackaging of Kurt Hawkins? Almost like a combination of Matt Hardy version 1, but then every time with the fact stamp, it does make me think of like a quasi Tyson Kidd of sorts. What are we thinking about this gimmick for Kurt Hawkins?
I thought of it as Chuck Norris.
And you did say Chuck Norris a lot on TWitWoW, so that's another great comparison.
Yeah, it's like Chuck Norris facts, like under Chuck Norris's beard, there's no chin, there's only a third fist.
Exactly, yeah.
Chuck Norris isn't hung like a horse. Horses are hung like Chuck Norris.
Exactly. I don't really know what to think. Like, I'm excited. I really enjoy these vignettes. Don't get me wrong. I don't really remember anything about Kurt Hawkins, in singles, because I always remember him as like the Major Brothers with Zack Ryder, and then when they became Edgeheads, I haven't seen any of Kurt Hawkins' work on
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. He was Brian Myers. Remember, he was at a freaking a PWG show this past year.
You know what? You're probably right, but I honestly don't remember it. So I guess SmackDown.
Oh, Pecker.
SmackDown Live will be a good refresher, I guess. So, but I mean, you were very adamant about it. Do you think he'll do well in singles?
Kurt Hawkins' tears can cure cancer. Too bad he's never cried.
I'm guessing that's a yes then. So what do you think? Like solid mid-carder?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of see him as kind of a notch above where Heath Slater is right now, you know?
That sounds about right for the moment. I'll definitely want to do a
Yeah.
reevaluation though when we actually see him and maybe they give him a mic and we'll see how he does in that department. Like I am excited for this debut because it's a big question mark for me right now. But just great seeing SmackDown bringing in this talent. I just hope that Kurt Hawkins is actually able to make it and he doesn't pull a Shelton Benjamin because that was tragic what happened. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So up next, we had our second match of the night. I can't believe this is only the second match of the night. Randy Orton versus Heath Slater.
Yeah, this wasn't so much a match as it was a massacre. Orton was in the zone. He beat the shit out of Slater. But here's the thing. When you're in a zone and your vision becomes myopic and the only thing you're thinking about is the guy that you're just incurring all of this punishment upon, you kind of forget that there's a match in progress. So Orton got so absorbed in the beating he was doling out to Slater, he didn't adhere to the referee's 5 count, and he got disqualified. So your winner by disqualification is Heath Slater. But Orton really didn't give a shit about that because, see, to him, when he's in this zone, rules are only suggestions at best. So he continues the beatdown. He DDTs Slater on the floor. He starts German suplexing him back in the ring, kind of mocking Brock Lesnar, and then he finishes him off with an RKO. So what did you think about Orton here, Ashton?
Yeah, man. And not only that, but it kind of reminded me of that one segment where he assaulted The Miz in front of The Miz's parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe less humiliating because Heath Slater's family wasn't in the crowd, but kind of that level of beatdown. He just destroyed him and then got him back in the ring and tossed him around with a couple German suplexes to send a message to Brock, and then an RKO out of, it was actually out of a pretty predictable place this time. We kind of saw this one coming.
Heath Slater didn't even know where the hell he was. So, but regardless, Orton just
actually, dude, you're not even joking. That was actually the next segment. We got the whole Heath Slater in the trainer's room segment after this match.
Yeah, which I don't know. Let me ask you something. I mean, well, it is SmackDown Live, so, but I guess crowd reactions can still be manipulated because Shane, at least by crowd reaction, came off as a huge dick in this segment. But to put it in context for everybody, Heath was in a lot of pain, but then Shane and Brian come in, and Heath's just saying, man, I stood face-to-face with Brock Lesnar, and I stood face-to-face with Orton tonight. I showed neither guy any mercy. I showed him no mercy. Brian's like, wow, that's a great name for our event in October. So, I mean, that all but confirms, yeah, October is No Mercy. We've got September. It's going to be Backlash. So the names are kind of racking up, guys. And, they thank Heath for that. And Heath just goes on and on. He's clearly delirious from the beatings he's taken, these past 2 shows, Brock Lesnar on Monday and now Randy Orton tonight. He thinks that Daniel Bryan is Mick Foley, says that Mick Foley is better and more famous than Bryan is. And he does the unforgivable sin, at least to Shane. He confuses Shane with his sister Stephanie. So, Heath has a contract in hand. He's getting ready to sign it. And because Shane didn't take too kindly to that Stephanie mix-up, he actually takes the contract out of Heath's hands. And the crowd, I heard them audibly boo. I don't know if that was manipulation or if they genuinely felt bad for Heath. I'm hoping it's the latter.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the only people that they manipulate the crowd for, the reactions for, and it's not even people in person, is Roman.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the pet project, so they kind of go out of their way in any way possible to make it seem like he's got more fans than he really does.
But I will say this then, partner, if that's truly the case, if they only really touch that button and mess with the stuff when it comes to Roman because they got to protect his ass, this bodes quite well for Heath Slater because the crowd was upset with Shane when he took that contract out of Heath's hands. You could hear the boos. I think they felt like he suffered enough. Just give him the damn contract. But you know what? Less is more. By making Heath work for it more, I'm telling you, I really hope the payoff is him getting a huge win that really propels his stock. His work has still been quality. He takes a beating well. He takes it on the chin. Comedy keeps coming out. And yeah, while it does make Shane look like kind of a dick, so I guess Stephanie isn't the only one with an alignment problem because Shane has always seemed to be like the one for the people, and yet he just deprives Heath of a contract that the people clearly wanted him to get. I don't know. Outside of that, I really enjoyed this, and it continues to struggle for Slater.
And poor Heath, he had it in his hands, and his warped delusions of who he was talking to, based on the fact that Randy Orton demolished him and destroyed him and beat him down and made him go loopy. He might have even been concussed. You never know. And Shane McMahon takes offense to that, and yeah, that's definitely a dick move on Shane's part.
I mean, hell, this whole Slater storyline is working, though, because even I felt a tad. I mean, just a tad of sympathy for Slater here. I mean, granted, I also sent out 2 tweets.
I could tell. You're really kind of bringing up about how Shane was a dick, and I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that was kind of offset by me tweeting out that I'm laughing at Slater's children for forever living a life of poverty. But, you know, that notwithstanding, it's definitely pulling at my heartstrings the right way.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Kevin Owens' children anytime he doesn't have a championship.
Okay, that's going places that we don't need to talk about right now. But regardless, really cool, and I'm very curious what the payoff for this Slater storyline is going to be. You heard me say what I think it's going to be. I actually think he could become Intercontinental Champion if The Miz hangs on to the belt over this, either Intercontinental or US. What do you think the payoff might be? I mean, you've fantasy booked in your time. Where is your mind going with this whole Slater storyline?
Yes, young man, I've done fair share of fantasy booking in my day. I think I'll have a crack at this one. Yeah, I definitely think U.S. title. I mean, well, I shouldn't even say. Maybe he'll actually end up on SmackDown. And hell, if anyone's going to beat The Miz, if Apollo doesn't get the job done, I wouldn't be ashamed if it was Heath Slater after all this build.
I would love Rusev, though, because that means we get Ding Ding, you son of a bitch, the sequel. so
Remember, that was like quote of the year 2015. That was so legendary.
Yeah, it was bringing it back. Oh
my God. Yes. So good. I've got red, white, and blue coursing through my veins. Man, Heath Slater, he's not a one-trick pony, man. He gets it. He's doing it, man. I love it.
And he's taking it all the way this time, and really, and I know we say this about a lot of acts, and I can't believe we already say about Heath Slater, don't dick him over on this one. Take it all the way. Give that man a championship and give him, because it's going to be a worthwhile pop. If those boos were genuine, they keep torturing this poor man. He should main event. In a mid-card title match, should either be Miz versus Slater, main event of a SmackDown Live, or Rusev Slater, that should be the main event of a Raw. I guarantee you, with him winning, that'd be a huge pop at the rate they're going. I believe in him. I'm putting that stock in him, so we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. It is also worth pointing out, I think, that we got footage shown of Randy Orton staring down Bray Wyatt during the Wyatt family entrance because of Rowan being in this match with Ambrose.
Yeah. Do you think that's teasing anything? I mean, we've had guys, I think Chris Jericho and Ambrose, Jericho cut off Ambrose at one point, and that was teasing a feud. So do you think this is teasing
100%. Yeah. I mean, post SummerSlam, Cena's going to be going away for a while, and AJ's going to be working with Ambrose. So that, and also Brock's not going to be wrestling for a while. So yeah, it makes all the sense in the world that we would get Orton versus Wyatt, which I don't think we've seen yet, have we?
No, we have not. That's definitely a unique matchup. And what's even crazier, at least my personal prediction, I guess maybe you could almost call him a SmackDown 4, though I'm a bit tentative about Orton, because Orton's going to be working with Bray. Ambrose is going to be working with Styles. And I think after a few months, we'll be seeing a trade-off in feuds. So then Orton's going to be working with Styles, and Ambrose is going to be working with Bray. Unless AJ wins the
championship. I could see that. I mean, yeah. I think AJ's 100% winning the championship, but I still think that's going to happen. I think it'll be face Orton versus heel AJ for the title.
That's true. That's the way we can work. So we still get our Ambrose Bray feud, which, I mean, we've already seen it, so it's not new. I think the only thing that would make it new is if Ambrose was still champion and we can make it for the championship. But yeah, I definitely see these guys trading dance partners before too long, but I'm excited about that prospect. SmackDown's really looking good with some of its top build feuds for the next couple months.
Yeah, I mean, AJ and Orton can be battling for the title, but that doesn't mean that Dean and Bray can't be feuding for the #1 contender spot, because if you think about it, if Dean loses to AJ and AJ beats Dean because of Bray Wyatt,
Yeah.
Dean going after Bray to try and kind of just get him out of the way, because maybe Bray wants the title, Dean wants to get back to the title, and all the while we've got number one contender Randy Orton coming off of his match with Brock Lesnar actually in the match for the title. So we could have 4 guys contend. Hell, we might even end up with a fatal 4-way, and by the time we actually get to No Mercy. You never know, dude.
Yeah, you never know, especially with SmackDown, because talked about.
Here's the crazy thing. I never thought I'd say this about anything WWE related, but right now, based on what we've seen so far, I actually feel like I trust the SmackDown writers to do it the right way.
Yeah, right now I would have to agree with you. And I was even getting ready to say, and we touched on this a little bit in our Raw TWitWoW review, but SmackDown really knows how to get the most out of its minimal resources. So everything that we've been talking about, I fully expect them to do, because they've already got limited resources as is. So you really got to make your pay-per-view, you really got to make your feuds, you really got to make everything pop. And I think that's how you do that. So I'm really excited where the brand could be heading in a few months. I think, yeah, some interesting feuds are coming down the pipeline. Raw's a bit more of a question mark. I don't want to give it an immediate thumbs down. They've got all the pieces there. You've just got to give a shit enough to use them. So we'll see.
And yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. I think that we might be getting a trade in like September, October or so that might actually end up bringing Cesaro over to SmackDown, which would be another potential main event contender on this brand.
Oh, so, well, look, if Daniel Bryan really meant it, that Cesaro's been underutilized on Raw, I think the first thing you do when you get Cesaro on SmackDown Live is put him in the title hunt. If you can have Dolph Ziggler, no offense to him, win a 6-pack challenge, you can have Cesaro win a number one contenders match on his first night and gun after that championship. No question in my mind. No more dicking around in the mid card. And that's the thing.
100%,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. So after that, we did get our Ambrose Rowan match. It really didn't go for too long, but I will say, Mauro Ranallo, off the top of his head, came up with a new nickname for Eric Rowan that's so much better than Big Red, the Bearded Brawler. I love that.
Was it the Bearded Brawler or Bearded Brute? Because I heard you say that too.
You're right. Yeah, it was the Bearded Brute. But either way, that alliteration, and it rolls off the tongue, and it's not forced, and it's not a brand of cinnamon gum. Just love it. Awesome. Thank you, Mauro.
Yeah, Mauro is really great at using alliteration to kind of further elevate superstars. Like my personal favorite always with Kalisto, the diminutive Dynamo.
Yeah, definitely.
So good stuff here. Not a bad match between these two. Kind of basic. Oh, Eric Rowan, he's big, he's imposing, all that stuff. But Ambrose is the champion, and you've got that championship experience and that shrewdness. And Rowan had some cool offense. Like he had this kind of like spinning around, slam down to the ground, almost like a modified World's Strongest Slam of sorts. But it wasn't enough to put Ambrose away. He does win with dirty deeds. Again, the big story here after the match, we kind of touched on this on TWitWoW. Bray just looks at Eric Rowan's mask. He looks back at Rowan, who's just kind of pulling himself up with the ropes, and he walks out on Rowan. So do you think that Bray and Rowan are going to have a very brief program in the meantime while all the big main event guys get their shit sorted out, and then Bray can re-enter the fray? Or what do you think is going to happen?
No, dude, I don't think they're going to have a program at all. I think this might just be the last time we see them together for a while.
So I wonder how Rowan's going to find himself. I wonder if they're going to commit to him still being a heel because of that eerie video that was released that kind of implied that Rowan was a serial killer. See, and I
mean, he might go down like an even darker path than Bray, while Bray is kind of rejoining the lights of society and actually showing title ambitions and stuff like that. Rowan could just fall down a path of like psychoticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a very cool story to tell, and it would be one that was consistent. Again, we all saw that video on Eric Rowan's Twitter. The only thing that always makes me so tentative with WWE, especially with their lower card guys, is their proclivity for amnesia. Like, oh, we're just going to forget about this and we're going to begin anew. No, really commit to it. Make Rowan that mid-card, really dark, disturbed heel. I think that'd be a really good fit for him. And
let's make it easy, John. Make Eric Rowan the Kane of SmackDown.
Exactly. I think that's a perfect role for him. I liked what you said about Bray Wyatt. Give him title ambitions. Get him in that freaking hunt. I was getting ready to say earlier, but I held off, with Cesaro. Cesaro and Bray, two guys where I'm really getting frustrated with the booking now. I'm sick of seeing Cesaro in the mid card. He should have been elevated forever ago. And Bray, I like when he shows ambitions. Like, one of my favorite Undertaker promos, because he was older and he was still, I think he was on his last world title run. But he had a great line about the world title, why I wear the world title, why I want to be world champion, because I think with a being like The Undertaker, you need some kind of justification for wanting some kind of earthly material possession. He said, this draws souls to me. More souls for me makes me more powerful. So this is like a lore that
This
brings
was in
victims
2010, I believe, wasn't it?
This was probably in 2010, yes, either 2009, 2010, somewhere in that period. You can give Bray a similar motivation. When I have this championship, I ascend, I become even more powerful, or it gives me more victims if you want to go the Undertaker route. You can make this work. Don't shy away from putting him in the main event when he has been more than ready for prime time. I'm sick of the fucking start and stop bullshit with both of these guys. And I think SmackDown Live, I'm hoping they're getting ready to make a change. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, they've gotten it right so far, I'd say.
Yeah, so far. We'll see if they can continue it, because for their unique pay-per-view events, and you've been saying it too, this isn't organic coming from me. You laid the groundwork. One of the things that SmackDown Live could really do to be successful, build it around Bray Wyatt. And he should be main eventing SmackDown Live events on the network. And we'll see if he does. We'll give it a few months. We'll see.
Yep. All right. After this whole thing with Ambrose and Rowan and Bray walking out, we had our fourth match of the night, which is a women's tag match. Natalya and Alexa Bliss versus Carmella and Becky Lynch. And, this match was shaping up to be okay, but then Eva Marie came out and just cranked it up to 11.
Yeah, she emerges again, looking, I guess, to distract Becky and Carmella to give the heels a victory. Naomi wasn't having any of it, though. She reemerges. She chases Eva around the ring. Natalya intercepts Naomi, though, while Eva makes the escape. She tosses Naomi out, but then Becky was, I think, going to try and do something. Natalya seemed like she was going to counter, but then Becky got the disarmer on Natalya, which I thought was great. Natalya taps out, thus learning her place, while Becky gets a much-deserved victory. Baby faces win. Naomi joins them. And just to kind of tie it all up, this would later feed into the announcement for SummerSlam. SmackDown's women's match is a 6-woman tag. Carmella, Becky, and Naomi against Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. I'm hoping Eva makes a no-show and it's a 2-on-3 handicap match, personally. I would really hate, or maybe if they really have to have her appear, have her get the winning pin after her two teammates do all the work. So I guess we see her.
Or even better, she doesn't show up, and instead of her, we get her being replaced on the heel team with a returning Emma.
Oh my God. Is she even cleared to compete? Because I love that we talk about her every show so that nobody forgets about her, but I need to know if she's close to a return. Otherwise, this is just agonizing for no reason. I miss her so much, but yeah, that would be an amazing idea for sure.
I was just throwing it out there, and plus we had to get our, episodic quotient of Emma miss you talk out of the way.
Don't you think I've cried enough?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I see how it is. But regardless, should be a fun match.
Look, since when do scumbags cry, John?
Hey, don't you call me out on things, bitch. But, of course, SmackDown right now is going to have the quote-unquote weaker women's match, but I still like how this match came together. I'm curious how the women's division is going to change when they introduce a championship, because my question is, Ashton, are they going to commit the same folly that Raw has, and you go from this really diverse pool of women to maybe like this really nice-looking triangle, but still a triangle nonetheless of just the 3 women competing on a rotation? I'm hoping SmackDown has more diversity and they learn from Raw's mistakes.
Man, I mean, there are only 6 women on the roster, so there's not much you can do, though.
Not much you can do, but I mean, the least you could do in my mind, you could have a feud for the championship. Say hypothetically, I know I've been saying Eva as inaugural champion, and I guess we'll go with it. Say you're having Eva and Becky feud for the championship. Maybe you're having Alexa Bliss feud with Naomi for #1 contendership. You know, you can do things. And maybe Natalya continues her feud with Carmella because she just feels like, oh, there's this new girl. Well, I'm this experienced vet. She will respect me. And she tries beating respect into Carmella, but Carmella doesn't take that crap. So you have a championship feud, a #1 contendership feud, and a feud that's independent of championships. That, to me, is really utilizing your women. I don't think SmackDown will do it because WWE has never given women 3 programs at the same time from everything I recollect. But it would be such a breath of fresh air. So...
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's also, those are 3 feuds. I mean, we have at least 2 feuds going on right now. Really 3, if you want to include Naomi Eva, since they kind of have a little bit of a beef now. And then, you know, Naomi chased Eva out of the ring and stuff. I mean, you could say that we have 3 feuds going on right now, even 4, because you could say Natalya Carmella is definitely a feud, right?
Right.
Becky Bliss is technically a feud right now. Those 2 are not fans of each other, and Bliss beat Becky, so Becky wants to get that win back.
Right.
Becky Eva, I think you can count as a feud because of how many times Eva made Becky wait to fight. And of course, then Naomi Eva. So really, you could say you've got 4 feuds going on right now, or at the very least 3 if you don't want to count Becky Eva and say that that's over.
Right. I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I'd certainly agree with you there, dude. That's awesome for SmackDown. And again, I'm curious how the dynamic's going to change and how the hierarchy is going to really settle and establish itself once a championship is introduced into the fold.
Exactly. You know what, though? I appreciate that they haven't introduced a championship yet, and I look forward to when they decide to do so.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you.
Okay, well, then let's move on. Up next was a segment that, you know what, John? I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm going to let you take this one.
What segment was this, partner?
Corbin.
Oh, this was great. Oh, my God. Oh, look, there is nothing funnier than picking on the weak. Don't believe people that tell you about self-respect and dignity and anti-bullying and all that bullshit. No. There is a major delight in picking on those weaker than you. So long as you never become the weak yourself, then laughing at it is totally okay. But then if you are laughing at it and then you become the weak, well, that's just a lack of foresight. So I really enjoyed this. I love that Corbin is just so pissed at Kalisto, really for even existing at this point. But it really is all about he perceives that Kalisto screwed him out of the Intercontinental Championship, and he is going to make his life miserable over it. Now, the only thing better would be, you know, seeing Baron Corbin compete, because if you guys have been watching this program for a short time, you know that both Ashton and myself are really big on Baron Corbin. I've gone so far as to call him the next Kevin Nash. So I really want him to get through this feud, and honestly, I don't know who's going to win between Corbin and Miz. Again, you're going to have to watch preview and predictions to get a full discussion on that. But if Cruz would win, I would love a Corbin-Cruz feud for the Intercontinental Championship. And honestly, I would almost want to see Apollo have a short run if that was the case, and Corbin to get the Intercontinental Championship. Because it's time we start pushing it.
You have been on this Apollo winning the Intercontinental Championship train for, I know it's not actually, but it feels like years now. It's just been months.
Yeah.
And I personally don't even want that to happen because that sounds like a horrible idea because I don't think he's ready. But you just insist that it's going to happen. And it seems to me like because you're so adamant that you think it's going to happen, that you actually want it to happen just to kind of get that prediction right. But I don't want it to happen. And if it has to happen, Corbin taking the title off of him within a month would be my ideal scenario.
Right. And I agree with you. Look, I do think Corbin's primed to win the Intercontinental Championship, and of course, I'm not going to lie, that ego stroke is always nice. Obviously, I think Miz is doing quality work, though. I really wouldn't mind if he retained. I think he's an exceptional heel. But to me, Corbin is the heel of the future. Miz, you know, he's been in the business a long time now. He's still doing great work. I don't want to, you know, put him in the background, but I also want to focus on the future and guys that could also really be great heels in their own right. give Corbin a title run. Let's get this show on the road already. Like I'm ready for him to show everybody what he can really do. He's been talking about I go where the money is. He's on SmackDown. We think SmackDown's superior, so I guess Corbin, well, it's not like he had much of a choice. He was drafted, but regardless, he wins an Intercontinental Championship. That's bigger paychecks and everything else. He could cut promos in that same style. Just make him look like a beast, and then whatever babyface steps up to him and shuts him up and takes that title is going to be golden for it in more ways than one. So, yeah, let's get the Corbin show on the road, because him bullying Kalisto, as amusing as it is and as pathetic as Kalisto is, Corbin deserves bigger and better things. So,
yeah, Corbin is awesome, and to be perfectly honest, the fact that we're not getting Corbin and Kalisto added to the Intercontinental Championship match kind of disappoints me, just because I would have loved for Corbin to pin either Apollo or Kalisto and win the championship straight from The Miz, rather than needing to have Corbin be the transition from one to the other.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude. That would have been nice, but this is what we've got.
I meant rather than having Cruz be the transition from one to the other.
Yes. That would have been nice. I do agree with you, but this is where we are. I just hope, because see, here's the thing. I'm not against Apollo, but let's be honest here. He still doesn't have a character. He's still not there promo-wise. I do think he could get there. Yeah, and I do think he could get there, and I am high on him, and I still think he has a great look, and I think he has that likability to him that the younger audience and, the women and stuff could really like, and maybe even the grown men, if he could get the right personality. That remains to be seen. But yeah, for now, Corbin is way more put together, way more well-rounded, relative to Cruz. And I think he definitely deserves a major push. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So now we get to our main event. AJ Styles out to ringside to watch, and we've got John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio. I said earlier this was a really good match, and I'll stand by that, but it went on way too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was actually a little bored with this main event. I think AJ's presence kind of livened it up for me. But I think it's because, we've seen Del Rio, Cena. They do have good chemistry when they're both on. But, I don't know.
All of Del Rio's best matches in WWE are with Cena.
Yes. I especially love the one Falls Count Anywhere match they had on Raw. I think that was the year 2012, because I think that's when Punk was really heel in his title run, because that was when Paul Heyman reemerged in the company and he started representing Punk. That was a great match, their last man standing match, so you're right. Yeah. Best match is always with Cena. This match was all right. I feel like there are only so many things you could do before everybody can just start telegraphing what two guys are going to do in a match together. And, Cena got in his power offense. Del Rio had good counters for the AA initially, but eventually he did get caught. All the while, AJ's like, oh, come on, Del Rio, beat him down. Come on, Del Rio, stay on him. And taking digs at Cena. Again, AJ seems very comfortable in this heel role now. I think he's really kind of hit his stride, and it couldn't have come at a better time, too, because if he can carry this past the Cena feud and with Ambrose, yeah, he'll be more than ready to be WWE champion. And I know that probably put a big smile on Lee Clark's face. But yeah, AJ is really cooking on all cylinders now. And I'd love to see him beat Ambrose. I'd just love to see him in the title picture in general, because I think that's where he deserves to be.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. He's beating Cena at SummerSlam. Spoiler alert for preview predictions. And then he's going to go on at Backlash and beat Ambrose for the title. I'm calling it. I'm calling my shot like Jackie Robinson, or no, that was Babe Ruth. Like Babe Ruth, I'm calling my shot, and I'm going to knock it out of the freaking park.
Yeah, man. I mean, you've been adamant about it. This is kind of, your personal equivalent to, Apollo Crews is going to beat the Miz with the Intercontinental Championship that I have. You just really think that AJ is going to be the next WWE champion, and he would certainly deserve it with his body of work and how great he's been doing in the WWE. But that notwithstanding, he's still got to get through Cena first. And he started on a good track, because after Cena wins at the AA, AJ immediately comes in. He delivers the phenomenal forearm, lays Cena out, and then he just lays into Cena on the mic. I love this promo from AJ. He said, I'm sick and tired of hearing you say, that the future has got to go through you. And when I beat you at SummerSlam, boy, I become the face that runs the place. And how many times do I got to say it? Your time is up. my time is now. And AJ spoke with conviction and fire, and he's ready to beat John Cena. Or so I thought, because he was getting ready to do more damage, really punctuate it with a Styles Clash, but then Cena hits AJ with an AA in-ring, and he doesn't stop from there because Cena always likes to escalate. He takes AJ to the outside. He clears the announce table. I personally thought that AJ was going to resist, and maybe he was going to deliver a Styles Clash to the table. Didn't happen because Cena got the steel steps. He ascended up them with AJ and toe in the fireman's carry position, and then Cena AA'd AJ through the announce table. So Cena put a real whooping on Styles to end the show, Ashton.
Yes, he did. Cena kind of hulked up a little bit here and in the ring, and then, like you said, he climbs up the steel steps that he actually had to get out and set up and puts AJ right through that announce table, and that kind of closes the show. And I thought that was a really cool visual to close the show, but that's also, to me, that's a sure sign that AJ's winning on Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, I'd have to agree with you. And it's going to be great because AJ then will have beaten Cena in 2 one-on-one matches, which I think is huge for his WWE Championship credibility.
Dude, when was the last time somebody won 2 out of 3 matches against John Cena with the loss only being in a tag match? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can't even remember. And if that doesn't make AJ Styles your next #1 contender for the WWE Championship, then I don't know what does. So, yeah, I think they're really priming AJ for something big. Maybe a title win, as my cohort commentary seems to believe, but that remains to be seen.
Hey.
With that said, do you have anything you want to say about the main event?
No, I don't.
All right, then. We're going to move on to our next segment, High Spots.
Wait.
Yes.
I have an announcement.
Ooh, okay. The floor is yours.
Breaking news.
Okay.
I want you guys to know this is a little bit of an Easter egg for people who listen to TWitWoW from beginning to end. Don't skip around. Don't, fast forward. Don't start and then maybe skip to the end segments and stuff like that. And for those of you that are here from beginning to end, thank you so much for your viewership. It's awesome that we have people that enjoy what we have to say this much and that they stick around for this whole hour-long show. Last night we went 2.5 hours. We're close to an hour now. But this is just for you guys. There's been a leak. Now, I'm not going to say who it was. I'm not going to say where I heard it. But within the next 60 days, which I'm guessing it's probably going to be right after the Cruiserweight Classic ends, the WWE is going to be announcing they are going to be holding a women's classic featuring 16 women that have been on WWE television for the most part. Not all of them have been. Some of them have been. Some haven't. And I know 5 names right now that the WWE has contacted to be in this 16-woman tournament.
Okay, what do we got?
Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first name I'm going to toss out there, probably expected, Tessa Blanchard.
Okay.
Second name, I think, is going to surprise some people. I don't think she'll actually end up being in the tournament, but the WWE has reached out. Cherry Bomb.
Interesting. Okay.
The third name is another woman who has been on NXT television that we might be a little bit more familiar with that's gotten a lot better. Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay.
Fourth name might surprise some people, maybe, possibly. I think this is kind of going to be... The fifth name is the biggest deal. I'll just get that out of the way right now. The fifth name is going to be the one that people are going to be like, oh my God, that's going to be incredible. I can't wait. That kind of thing. But the fourth name I'm going to list is Kelly Skater. Some people might be familiar with her. She's done work in the indies for a really long time. Never been on WWE television, but they did reach out to her. Okay. And the fifth and final name, and this was kind of the big deal. This is the one that people are either going to absolutely love and be like, oh my God, it's about time. Or they're going to hate and be like, oh, do we really need her in WWE? Velvet Sky.
Wow. Okay. And you know something? I mean, because I don't know if you know this, but her and Bubba Ray are dating. And I was wondering when she was going to show up because I didn't know if he was just going to try and pull some strings and get her, like, you know, an opening in the door. 2 comments I want to make. Well, actually make that 3 comments I want to make about this 16, you know, a person women's classic. 1, very excited about it. 2, hope Ember Moon's in it, even though she will be debuting at TakeOver Back to Brooklyn. I don't know if they're going to have actual NXT performers in it or what that whole thing is going to be. And 3, for our boy Brandon's case, you know, Brandon Best, who is a avid viewer of TWitWoW, big fan.
Crazy Mary Dobson,
Crazy
yes,
Mary Dobson, because he freaking loves her. And I want to apologize to him now. I haven't been able to watch all the content that he sends, but he's even freaking like booked her. He is all in on her, like I am with Mundo. You are with guys like Shinsuke, because I know you're really loving Shinsuke right now. Like he is all about. Yeah, Naito's your boy, so like Naito, yeah, he is crazy about Crazy Mary, to say the least. So I hope she gets a spot in this classic so we could see more of her. So there's your shout out, Brandon. I'm thinking about you, brother.
She might actually be reaching out to her, but I haven't gotten confirmation yet. So those are the 5 names that I've heard, and now we can move on to our next segment if you'd like.
Okay, high spots and low shots. I gotta say, man, there is no lower low shot tonight than Heath Slater, because he got the he got the shit beat out of him by Orton. He won by DQ, but the whole purpose of him winning and taking those lumps in the first place was that he thought a contract was going to be waiting for him on the other side, and because of a delirium that was inflicted upon him by other people, you know, not his fault, he lost that contract. It was literally taken out of his hands. So. Yeah, easily, and with actually a tinge of sympathy. My low shot is Heath Slater. Tough break for the one-man band.
I love how much dread you have in your voice as you talk about Heath Slater getting ridiculously dominated by Randy Orton.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Who's your low shot?
My low shot is Eric Rowan, because not only did you lose your match, but you lost Bray.
Yes, that's an excellent point, dude. Great low shot. So who's my high spot gonna be? You know what? No, I want to give it to him, but I can't kayfabe-wise because his night wasn't the best either. I'm gonna say, you know what? My high spot is gonna be Becky Lynch, because damn, that girl got a victory. She submitted Natalya again, and it was well-deserved. So Becky Lynch is going to be my high spot.
Yeah, that's cool, though. I like that. Hey, man, I kind of choked it down yesterday, bit the bottle, and kind of dealt with it yesterday. There's a lot less shame to this for me today. This guy quite as much as I hated the guy I gave my high spot to yesterday. But for today, it's John Cena, because not only did you beat Del Rio clean in the middle of the ring, but then when AJ attacked you after the match, you got the foot up on him and ended up putting him through a table to get the foot up with a leg up on him at SummerSlam. Cena had an awesome night tonight, and I'm not even ashamed to give him this credit, because he's actually good compared to Roman.
Oh, by leaps and bounds, brother, by leaps and bounds. Completely agree with you. With that said, do you have any concluding remarks about SmackDown Live?
I am fresh out of takes on SmackDown Live, and I just really enjoyed this show and hope that they maintain this quality. Whoever's writing this show deserves a freaking pay raise, because they're destroying whoever's writing the shit show that's known as Raw.
Yeah, you thought you could coast, you motherfuckers. Take notes from SmackDown Live. They're really cooking right now, guys. With that said, this has been SmackDown Live. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like. Make sure to like the video, because that, you know, works with the YouTube algorithm. We could be the top result, you know, when you search us. So be sure to leave a like on the video and comment down below. Partner, what question you have for our subscribers this week?
Here's a good one. How do you guys think the WWE on SmackDown is going to crown their first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions?
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to put my own personal answer for it. I like it so much. I'm hoping Tag Team Turmoil. I love that match concept. I don't know why.
And you know what? Tag Team Turmoil, I think, is the only way that you could have the American Alpha guys be in it and not have them win. Because if they start, they could be exhausted by the 5th or 6th match. And if you get pinned at that point, you lose no credibility, but you don't win the match, and it's awesome.
Dude, you know what'd be so good, if they do Tag Team Turmoil? You have them start first, you have them think that they won, but then there's a surprise team, and it's the Revival, and then bam, you just pick that feud right back.
Yes! You're killing me right now. Yes. Yes.
So I've got a little better at this fantasy booking thing. Not as good as you in my mind, but I'm stepping up my game a little bit. But yeah,
you know what, John? That fantasy booking earned a golf clap.
Yes! I'm slowly getting there. This is totally better than any Xbox achievement ever. But yeah, guys, make sure to comment down below. How do you think they're gonna, determine the tag team champions? I think Tag Team Turmoil. What do you guys think? But actually, no. Before that, you guys already know all the stuff to check out because of the amazing backgrounds that my cohort and commentary makes here. But what you may not know, there it is to submit questions for our Q&A. We do a Q&A with all of our subscribers at the last Friday of every month. Our inaugural Q&A was wonderful. It was so much fun. Great questions all around. I want even more questions this time around. We already do have more questions, so thank you to everybody on that. But there is still time.
We're up over 18 now. I actually got a message on our TWitWoW Facebook page from somebody with a question. And it was really interesting. It's actually one of the most unique questions we've gotten so far, and I'm really looking forward to answering that one.
Absolutely. I still have my questions on Twitter that I need to feed you, partner, so that you can keep compiling your list. I may even have to scroll down a bit because I think some people did mentions. In fact, I just want to say right now, if you guys do want to ask me questions through Twitter, I think I prefer DMs because I get so many notifications anymore when I do live tweet Raw and SmackDown that if you do tweet at me questions, it's going to kind of get lost a little bit. So I am going to look for them, don't worry. But in the future, DMing me, I think, is definitely the preferred method. And, of course, you guys know all the other mediums, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube. We're on top of it all. So keep submitting questions. Everybody is permitted 5 questions per Q&A. You could differentiate. You can make, one for Ash and one for me. You can make all 5 for both of us. However you want to break it down, that's your choice. But keep the questions coming because I'm really excited for this upcoming Q&A, knowing that we've exceeded last time. And my partner here just talked about that unique question. So that's that. Get on the Q&A. And as far as remaining content goes, this week is still packed. Tomorrow, we have got NXT TWitWoW and TWitWoW, and then Cruiserweight Classic live reactions. Don't forget also that we are going to be doing both for NXT TakeOver Back to Brooklyn and SummerSlam preview and predictions, as well as live reactions. And ROH has got an event, main event, Jay Lethal versus Adam Cole for the ROH World title. We'll be doing live reactions to that as well. So it is going to be a stacked remaining of your week in your subscription box. Be sure to get on that, guys. And until then,
on Thursday, preview and predictions for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn will happen at 8 p.m. on Thursday. And then on not Friday, but Saturday, we will be getting on here to do SummerSlam preview predictions. Actually, you know what, John? You just want to do both of them on Thursday? Because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have live reactions. You just want to do both NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 and SummerSlam preview predictions on Thursday, and we'll just do them at 8 o'clock, and then whenever that one ends, we'll go into the other one.
That sounds good to me, partner. So you guys know now.
All right, guys, there you go. 8 p.m. on Thursday. Be on the lookout because it is going to be a preview and predictions marathon.
Yes. So, guys, be sure to join us for that. That's going to be epic. And until then, tune in and peace out.